Hi, 8th grade. It's Miss Scott, the librarian, and I wanted to do a few book talks for you to help refresh your memory of some of the books that we have, or maybe you didn't know we had something that you might be looking for. As you know, curbside pickup is something that we are able to do during this time. You all should have gotten the link on how to do those tutorials and all that stuff. It is also on the library Google Classroom. I will place this with your teachers for them to share with you. So I wanted to share some books that are, two of them are part of a series and two are not. So I'm going to get started with the first book, which is, and I have to hold it up a little higher. This is A Night Divided by Jennifer Nielsen. This book is historical fiction, which you know has the yellow spine label. And in A Night Divided, our main character is named Gerda, and she's 12 years old. Now, she lives in East Berlin. To give you some background, after the war, World War II, I believe, the Cold War happened, and it's hard to make sure. There you go. These are actual photos that are in the book. The Cold War happened, and what happened, literally happened, was one night the barbed wire and the Berlin Wall went up, and if you were in the west side of the wall, you were in West Berlin, which was free. But if you were on the east side of the wall, you ended up in East Berlin, which was not free. And it was very much controlled. You can see in that picture right there how that's the city, not the country, how it was divided in half. So what's cool about this is there are some cool pictures that you can look and get some background. But Gerda is living on the east side of the wall with her mother and her brother. Her dad happened to be on the west side when the wall went up, and he could not enter and get back to his family. And there is this like an entry point, and she would walk by it, and she was afraid that if she looked too long that the guards might kill her because she is wanting to go over there, and if they think that you want to go over there, then that could be problems for you. They shot and killed people, so she was really scared. Well, one day when she's walking by this entry point, she sees her dad, and he's doing this thing that she's calling a dance. It's like, he's like, yeah, I know you can't see all that, but he is like, he's making this dance movement like a shovel, like he's shoveling. And she's trying to think, well, what is he trying to say? Well, then one day in the mail, a picture arrives, and it's kind of a map. And she goes to where this place is telling her to go through this letter, and she realizes that it had to be from her dad, and that motion that he was doing was digging. He had led her to a place where he knew that she could dig a tunnel under the ground to get to the other side to freedom. They were not free in East Berlin. Things were very bad. They were very poor. There was not enough food. It was a really rough time. So she decides to start digging that hole. And of course, digging the tunnel, as you can imagine, there are a ton of problems with that and things that could go wrong. Does she make it over to the other side? Does her mother? Does her brother? Right now, she's the only person who knows about this. Find out in A Night Divided. I read this book and I enjoyed it very much. It kept me wanting to read and find out what happens. And the cool thing about it is you can look back and you can do some research and find out, look for pictures. What was it like to live during that time? It wasn't fun, and it was very, very difficult. So that is A Night Divided by Jennifer Nielsen. The next book I'm going to talk to you about is a series. And this is the first one in this series, called I Am Number 4. Now, you may have seen that there is a movie out about it, and everything that I've read says it's horrible. Don't even waste your time with it. The book is so much better. Well, let me just give you a little background, and I had to make some notes. I have not read this book, but I can tell you many kids have over the years, and they love it. Like, seriously love it. They can't get enough of this. Now, this is all centered around, I Am Number 4 is a person. Or, I'm sorry, not actually a person. He's an alien. But he looks like a person. And his name is John Smith. And he is a Loric, which is a race of extraterrestrials that are going extinct. There were 10 of them, and the Mogadorians are the other alien race that has pushed the Lorics to near extinction. And they know there are 10 left. And John Smith, well, number 4, comes to Earth and is living as John Smith. He comes to Earth with 9 others, so there's a total of 10. However, I had to write this down. Mogadorians have killed off 1, 2, and 3. Now there's only 7 left. Well, he's number 4, and they're coming after him. So, in I Am Number 4, he meets a girl named Sarah, and she is a human, and he cares for her, and he knows that, you know, her association with him, it could potentially, like, lead him to her getting hurt along with him. So, will they make it out alive? Who's number 5? Who's number 6? I can tell you that you will like this series if that is your thing. However, I will also tell you it will frustrate you a little because you really have to do some research to find out which is next in the series. Like, you would think logically, I am number 5, right? Well, it doesn't go like that. But you will like it if this is your thing. I've never heard a complaint for those who have read this series. They love it and they can't get enough of it. Okay, number 3 to talk about. All right, I can't imagine many boys will get into this. However, girls, or anyone, really, the dresses on these covers, the selection, it is a series, and the dresses on these covers are so beautiful, and you just can't stop looking at them. But the selection is a book or series, and these 2 are the first in their series. There's a prince. Maxon is his name, and he is having not really a competition. It's probably something similar to some of the things we might have seen on Netflix, or, you know, similar to The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. But he is a prince, and if you are selected, you get to live this life of luxury in the palace and all the glamour and beautiful dresses that you could possibly want, and jewelry and everything else. Well, the main character in this selection, her name is America Singer, and her heart was broken by her boyfriend, and she decides to enter the selection. And she is very conflicted. She still feels like she loves her old boyfriend, but now suddenly Maxon is really, you know, intriguing her. So, if you're curious about that journey, check out The Selection by Kiera class. If that's your kind of thing, you will probably love it. I know many people who have read this series, and they blow through it because they absolutely love it. All right, so that was The Selection. Our next book is by one of my favorite authors, Neal Shusterman, and this is called Bruiser. In Bruiser, our main character is named, well, actually, there's kind of 3 main characters. This book is told from the perspective of 3 different people in 3 different chapters. They each are telling the story in, like, their own voice, throughout the story. You have Tennyson, who is a twin to Bronte. They are the twins. One's a boy, one's a girl. Tennyson is the older, well, he's the brother, so he's like overprotective of Bronte and all of that. Bronte, she's kind of sensitive, but she meets the odd, quiet boy that everybody is kind of afraid of. His name is Bruiser, but he goes by Bruiser because he's really big and he's kind of scary, and people just aren't sure like what he's capable of. What you discover in Bruiser is that there is a reason Bruiser is like that. If he begins to care for or love someone, he is, if something happens to them, it physically shows up on him. So, for example, if he falls in love with Bronte and she gets a cut, she has an accident, she starts to have a cut, it doesn't appear on her, it shows up on him. And there are a couple of moments in this book that just really, really, you're like, oh my gosh, would I do that for somebody? Could I do that? There's a really difficult decision he has to make. His uncle is kind of abusive and a jerk. Needless to say, Tennyson does not want his sister Bronte involved with Bruiser because he doesn't really understand why Bruiser is the way he is, but Bronte starts to see and understand. So this is one of my all-time favorite books. I really, really love it. So that is Bruiser, by Neal Shusterman, who has a ton of books that we could talk about for a long, long time, but that's the only one I'm going to talk about today. All right. The last book I have to talk to you about is Time Bomb. It was on the Lone Star list for last year, and it's by Joelle Charbonneau. And if you read The Testing or, The Testing, which is also a series, you might be familiar with her writing. This book will leave you guessing almost to the end, and it kind of gets your mind going because it's kind of told from the perspective, it is told. It's a time. Each chapter has a timestamp on it. You've got the main character, you've got 6 characters. They actually happen to be at school when it's technically summer. They each had a reason. Now, granted, this is pre-COVID, obviously. They each had a reason to be on campus, and a bomb goes off. And the kids that are there, one of them is a football player who's hiding a secret, and he's getting really angry. One is the perfect girl who's starting to really feel the pressure. She's getting tired of it. Another is a Muslim boy who is really tired of being stereotyped by everybody around him. There's a couple other characters. You don't really suspect them as much, but what you do know is that one of those kids is the bomber. And the bomb goes off, and they're trying to get out of the school. There's a handful of other people that are there that end up passing away and dying from stuff. And so there is that element. But it is one of those kids, and trying to figure out who the bomber is what keeps your mind going throughout the whole thing, because you start thinking about the things that the characters are sharing, like, I'm really tired of being stereotyped. But of course, some of the kids in that group are accusing him. So it was a really good read. I highly recommend it. Like I said, it was on the Lone Star list. I do want to remind you guys that you can check out the curbside pickup is still very much a part of this process now until we come back face-to-face. Or if you're remote learning, after we do go face-to-face, when face-to-face is okay, but you choose to still remote, you can use our library. I want to make sure that you understand that you can still get books from our library. I am here to help you with that. The Holtz process, there is a tutorial video on that, so please feel free to use that and get books, get lots of books. You don't have to get fiction, just nonfiction. You can get nonfiction as well. They're all here for you, and I'm here for you. So just fill out that book request form, and we will get you checked out. I hope you have a great day, and I can't wait to see you again. Bye-bye.